Were you hurt? What happened?
No, it was a good fight, man. Obviously the guy hits hard. Like, I mean, I always try to downplay these guys' best quality. If a guy says that or if they say a guy has tremendous power, I try to say, well, it doesn't hurt very bad, but this guy had real power. He was a strong guy that hit hard. The guy hit hard. He was very confident early, right, Mike? Like, he came out, he was on fire, he was throwing everything with big power. But then he started to try to reserve a little bit, right? Because every fight had been so fast. So he went in there with the intention of knocking me out very fast. And when it didn't happen real fast, he started to slow down and he started to back up. When you start to back up against me, it's only problems, because then I start to press you and start to really find my groove, and that's what happened to Volkan Ozdemir.
Now, obviously, the big news is that you're going to be fighting Stipe, International Fight Week, July 7th. Huge announcement. Was it something you saw in the Ngannou fight that made you say, okay, I can beat Stipe, or was this something that you had in the back pocket already? How did you kind of come to that decision?
Well, I mean, initially, I was dead serious when I was saying I had no interest in this fight, but, Dana White and the UFC, they have ways of making things happen that they want happen. So when they started trying to really make the fight happen, it became very difficult for me to say no. So, but it wasn't anything that I saw in his fighting style. He's a very tough guy, very durable. He's very well-rounded. He can do everything, So there was no glaring weakness in his fight style. It was just when they made me the offer, I was like, wow, this seems pretty good. And I've always felt like stylistically it's a good fight for me, because he's a guy that wrestles and he's a guy that boxes. He's not a huge kicker. Guys like Jones are the guys that would give you trouble. A guy like Luke Rockhold would give me trouble because he's a guy that kicks all the time. Those are the guys that I struggle with more than a guy that does essentially what I do, right? I wrestle and I box, and that's what Stipe Miocic does.
So obviously you're saying Dana made you an offer that you couldn't refuse. And I know in the past you didn't want to fight at heavyweight because of Cain Velasquez. This is your interview, DC. We want to hear about you. But what is the scenario with Cain? Is he taking some time out still? Is he injured? What's the deal?
Well, when I was thinking about doing it, I spoke to Cain. And Cain said to me, he goes, I don't think that they're going to give me a title shot right away. So this is such a huge opportunity. I think you should take it. And then when you win the fight, that's a bridge we'll cross whenever we get there. I said, I don't rule out going back to 205. We have a ton of options as we go forward, So it's not like I'm limited to the heavyweight division or limited to 205-pound division. There are options for me, and none of those options includes fighting Cain. So there are a ton of ways for us to go around that.
So, DC, you just fought Volkan, last week? Now you're doing the Ultimate Fighter. Then you're going to fight Stipe. You commentate for the UFC. You're on UFC Tonight. You've still got your own podcast. Dude, the busiest motherfucker in MMA right now goes to you. Congratulations on that. It's crazy, man. I mean, of course, make hay while the sun shines. I get it. But I'm blown away by your work ethic. Good for you.
Well, you got to try to just get while the getting's good, like you said, Mikey. I like doing these things. I like UFC Tonight. I love calling fights. You talk about me, but we do the same exact thing. You and I have the same exact schedule. So it's just, you know how it is. We come from places where we didn't necessarily have the most. So when you have an opportunity to make a future for your kids, you just go ahead and do it. I just want to work, man. I got to work hard because I have to provide a life for my family that I didn't really have when I was growing up.
Now, I know with the only other time we've really seen this happen where a champion, moved on to another weight class to fight for the title was with Conor, and they made him, give up the 145-pound title. Are they only making you give up the light heavyweight title if you win the heavyweight title, or do you have to give it up before you go and fight?
There has been no talk of me giving up the light heavyweight championship.
Really?
Dane even said, not at all. Dane even said to me, he goes, this was Saturday, right after the fight. He goes, go fight Stipe. He goes, if you win the fight, and you decide to vacate, he goes, then vacate. He goes, whatever. He goes, I just think it's such a great fight. We need to make it. So I was like, okay. They never talked to me about vacating the light heavyweight title.
Yeah. I don't think that makes sense anyway, but he's right. You're right. This is an amazing fight. DC, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. Of course, the only problem you've had in your MMA career is this whole thing with Jon Jones, right? Everyone knows about that. But if you go out there, you take care of Stipe Miocic, that will totally eradicate any of that mess with Jon Jones. And you'll go down as one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. Surely that had to go through your mind at some point.
It goes through my mind every day. Every day, the idea that if I can do this, and I say if because I respect Stipe Miocic and I know it's a big ask for anyone, much less a light heavyweight. But I do believe that I match up favorably against him, and I believe that I'm going to win this fight with every part of me. But if I get this done, this is something that is so out there that no one's never really even attempted it, right? Randy Couture did it, but he lost the light heavyweight title, went up and fought for the heavyweight title. No one ever did it while holding the lower weight classes belt. Nobody even attempted it because it's so out there. If I can go and accomplish this thing that's so rare and so far left, yes, I should be in the conversation for not only one of the greatest to ever do it, but one of the greatest fighters, the greatest to ever do it. Not just one of, but the conversation for the best fighter of all time. I truly believe that because it's such a massive accomplishment.
Do you think that, the Jon, and I do believe this, and me and Mike have talked about it. I think that because Jon has been caught cheating, I think that it really puts a huge asterisk there. Do you think that that's the difference in that fight, was him being a cheat?
No. I mean, Mike and I agree on a lot of things, right? So Mike fought, and some of these guys that he fought were obviously juiced to the gills, right? Just freaking cheating and being okay with it. And then when you start to come around, Michael Bisping becomes the UFC champion, right? So his rise came right around the time that they started to level the playing field. But make no mistake about it, the guys that Mikey lost to and the guy that I lost to, they were cheating. But there were a lot of guys over the course of our records that we beat that were also cheating. So it wasn't only the cheating. They do have skill too, so I don't want to take away his accomplishment in that way because he's got to be a good fighter to do what he did. But it doesn't hurt. It obviously helps, otherwise they wouldn't do it. But he's not the only guy that I've ever fought that has been on steroids. And I beat all the rest of them.
We didn't bring you on here, and thank you very much. We didn't bring you on here to talk about Jon Jones because fuck that guy. You're doing the Ultimate Fighter, DC. Do you know what you're getting yourself in for, man? Because I've done it twice. It is a pain in the ass. It's a lot of work. It's fun. It's good fun, but, do you know what you're getting yourself into?
I've been on twice as an assistant, right? So I went with Koscheck.
Okay.
And I was on Cain Velasquez. But as the assistant, the leash is very loose. Yeah. I think as the main guy, you got to take a little more responsibility. The issue is, after your fight at light heavyweight and you fight at heavyweight and as a UFC champion, after every fight, there's obligation. There are appearances and stuff that you have to do. And I'm just hoping that the Ultimate Fighter, they understand that there are going to be times where I have to take off for a couple days. And when I do that, I trust my coaching staff to actually take care of these kids and get exactly what I would give them. Because my thing is this. They are getting what made me a world champion. They're getting every one of my coaches. So I feel like they're getting the best that there is out there.
And how much?
Who are the coaches going to be? Oh, sorry, Lewis, go ahead.
Well, I was going to, and you can answer, Mike was going to ask you who are the coaches, but this also relates to that. How much, on the Ultimate Fighter, how much of that real experience are they getting? How much of yourself as a coach does somebody competing in the Ultimate Fighter get versus somebody that is, training with you in real life? Because for TV, we all know there's a lot of cameras and production, but I mean, are they getting the real Daniel Cormier experience?
Yeah, they're going to get exactly what I get, right? So my whole deal is this. It's 6 weeks, and it's 6 weeks where the kids are fighting quite often. So you can't put them through a training camp as if I was going through a 6-week training camp. But I will give them the foundation for what I would do in a training camp. We're gonna spar. We're going to wrestle. And I'm going to introduce them to some high-level coaches, not only my coaches, but guys like Olympic champion wrestlers may come in and help to wrestle for a day. I want to introduce them to the highest level of sport so that they see and learn from the very best. So being on my team, I just got access to a lot of things to try to help these kids with this experience. So you never know who these guys are going to become, right? Nobody knew who Rashad Evans would become, Michael Bisping would become, T.J. Dillashaw would become. I mean, we may be looking at one of the next UFC champions on this show, so we have to nurture them as best that we can.
DC, you never stop promoting. Now I want to watch it. Listen, I know you're a busy man, okay, so we'll let you go. But I got to ask one last question. It's kind of a twofold question. Everybody said my boy, Luke Rockhold, was training with Volkan Oezdemir. What do you say about that? And is he going to be on the Ultimate Fighter with you? And how's he going to do against Yoel Romero? There you go. Threefold, triple last question. Threefold.
He did work out. He's down in Florida, right? Luke had to change his training situation because of Cain and I being out of the gym a lot, families. And when we weren't training, he really didn't have the right partners. But he likes Henry Hoops, so he went down and trained there. He did not say he was he said he wasn't training with Volkan. They didn't spar. They didn't do anything. And it really didn't matter, obviously, because I won the fight. Second.
Exactly.
I think Luke Rockhold beats Yoel Romero, but I'm a bit biased, Mike, as you know. But
come on.
I think if he's able to kick and keep Yoel at distance, he wins the fight. He's got to be very careful because Yoel is so explosive and so powerful that if he lands, man, he can put anybody out. And last question was, what was the last part of that, Mikey?
Fuck, I don't know. It was threefold. Oh, is he going to be a coach on the show? But that's not really important. I wanted to know about Yoel. Wanted to know about Volkan.
He's going to come out and visit and help. Yes, our relationship hasn't changed. But, Mike, I got a question for you.
Please, go ahead.
What are you doing in March? Listen, I know hey, Mike, I know Mama's saying, no more, baby. I love you. You've done enough. You are the champ. You're the man, baby. I don't need to see you make that walk again. But, Mikey, I need to see you make that walk one more time.
Well, DC,
Mikey, I need to see you make that walk one more time, buddy. Go do
DC,
it in March.
this is the thing. You text me yesterday or whenever it was, and you said, guys like me and you were the last of a dying breed. And you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. That's why I respect you so much for doing this. That's why, more than likely, I will be fighting again. You're throwing me under a bus on my own podcast. I fucking love it. I've been trying to avoid that question like the plague. You're a goddamn son of a bitch. On that note, go and kick Stipe. I love Stipe as well. Stipe is a great guy. Going to be a great season of The Ultimate Fighter. Anything you want to